And the 30 seconds, here we go.
Hello.
Oh
my gosh. It's so nice for all of us just to kind of gather. And tonight we're going to have a different type of talk, listen, and share. It's called Pivot, Pivot, Pivot. Right, Sonja?
Yes.
It totally what happened too. It's kind of funny. And we have to tell this story because this is part of it. But the generation of friends, right? And, what is it? Rachel and Ross and Joey are all going into the apartment building with a huge couch. And they're trying to get it up this really narrow New York City, area, right? And it's like, pivot, pivot, pivot. And that's what I feel like the last 3 weeks of the new year has been. Does anyone else feel this way? I mean, seriously, does anyone else feel this way?
Oh my gosh. We were just talking about it.
I mean, I thought it was just me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything just seems to be really whacked out. I'm like, are the stars aligning weird, or what is it? Retrograde going on? I mean, please tell me that something is out of alignment, right? Besides my spine today from working out so hard.
Start a new year, different things. 2022 could be different. It's a lot of changes.
Lots of changes. And I think tonight, let's just get started by talking about tonight. It's very similar to cancer. We have the whole 6 months. Sonja and I are part of the education committee, and for 6 months, we have everything planned out, right? We're like, have this speaker lined up and this speaker, and we have this topic to talk about and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, everyone gets sick and things go wrong, or can't make the time, or whatever the case is. And then we scramble. Hi, Cheryl. Hello. We're so happy you're here. We have one person still watching. Yay. But our friends tonight, a special guest, which we won't share just yet because they do still want to be a guest. They still want to talk to our community. It is Dry January month, and this particular organization heads up a big national Dry January campaign. And so we can talk about that a little bit. I made the pledge to go Dry January. I gave myself 2 days out of January that I may or may not choose to have a celebratory glass of champagne, because I have 2 best friends that it's pretty big birthdays in the month of January with my crew of friends. So majority of the month I've been following everything, with the exception of my friend's birthday, and then we have one coming up. But the choice to drink or not drink is really, really important, I think, when you're a breast cancer survivor. And Sonja, I know that you put some stuff on the Live Well Clinic page today, and maybe you just want to talk about that a little bit, because this is something that is ongoing. It's important. It's something that I do try to practice, even though the choices that we have to maybe have a drink every now and then just to relax is fine. And Jason, you might even have share your thoughts on this too. That's up to you. But Sonja, you take it away. I know you have some good stuff that was on, and I'd love for you to share that with everybody.
Yeah, so today I was inspired by Dry January, and it I found a very interesting article last year that I just didn't have a chance to. I thought January would be a good month to highlight this, and it was a article about a study done in the Lancet that was published in the Lancet Oncology in July of last year. And it was a study based on, for I think it showed that in 2020, there were 741,000 people that were diagnosed with cancer that was attributed to alcohol use. And I was like, that is a massive number of people that just by, you know, moderating or changing one thing in your life, that it can reduce the risk of a cancer diagnosis. So that I think was a huge bit for me, as well as of those, 900 and or excuse me, 98,000 cases were breast cancer diagnoses. So that is a massive number, right?
90.
So
Can I repeat that? You
yeah,
did say 98,000 of the
98,000.
alcohol-related breast cancer.
98,000 cases, actually 98,300 cases for alcohol-related cancers were breast cancers.
That's a high number.
That's a very high number. So so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight this, because that is almost 100,000 people, 100,000 cases of breast cancer in 2020 that could be reduced, right?
Right.
Just because from modifying one life risk factor, right? And so one of the things that I was saying in my post was, if you can reduce the amount that you're drinking, right, then you're reducing and controlling a major risk factor for like lots of, like at least 5% of cancers in the world, but at least 100,000 cases of breast cancer. That's a
Yeah,
pretty
I pulled up your post on Instagram for Live Well Clinic, and you have 172,600 cancer cases diagnosed in women in 2020 were alcohol related. That's 172,600 women in our country were alcohol related diagnoses. And
the majority was breast cancer.
Out of that was breast cancer. That's huge.
Yeah, over 98,000 were breast cancer cases.
You wrote here, a new study shows just how much a risk drinking can be. At least 4% of the world's newly diagnosed cases of esophageal, mouth, larynx, colon, rectum, liver, and breast cancers in 2020. They're all alcohol related. Men accounted for 3/4 of alcohol related cancers. And of the 172,600 alcohol related cancer diagnoses in women, the vast majority, 98,300 cases, were breast cancer. That's scary, because I think of my daughter who's in college right now. And of course, when I was in college, it was like, ooh, I turned 21, I get to go to the bar, I get to drink and all of that. And it is very interesting that that possibility of me drinking could have affected how and when all of this was. I'm not blaming myself for getting breast cancer, so I hope no one thinks that, but it did increase my risk of getting it. Interestingly enough, right?
And we're not saying that alcohol is a direct is like the be all end all for that diagnosis,
Right.
but it is a huge factor. And obviously there's familial factors and other things like that, but this is something that you can control, right? So this is one piece of a risk factor that you have absolute control over. And you can't control your genes. It is what it is, but you can control what you put in your mouth.
It seems like alcohol and cigarettes usage are one of the two main things that no matter what doctor you go into, always ask, is that something you do or have done? And so it must be a risk factor that is easily controllable, I guess, by yourself, right? And has an impact on your life potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I ask about is secondhand smoke. So did you grow up in in an environment with a lot, did your parents smoke, or or did you live in a family unit that you had a lot of secondhand smoke exposure? Because that is in my family. I know one of my aunts, she has 4 different types of cancer diagnosis in her life, and she grew up not as a smoker, but a lot of her formative years, her parents smoked, and they were chain smokers.
Wow.
Mhm. And so I think that definitely impacted her risk for developing a lot of these cancers, because she never smoked in her life. She doesn't really drink, and so but she had thyroid, colon, bladder, um, and bladder a couple times. So, yeah.
It'd be interesting is I don't know if this has ever been uh, analyzed or discussed. Is they say alcohol usage or alcoholism is somewhat, it can be hereditary, it can be generational, and so I wonder if there's ever been an analysis to tying anything that would be related to alcohol use, cancer, with the genetic history. That would be something that would be interesting, you know, since contributing factors seem to come into play with the genetic side of it. But it's interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're not saying that alcohol causes cancer by any means whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we are giving education around the use of alcohol that can increase the levels of hormones, and including estrogen, which we know women have, and women have a lot of breast cancer cases, and is increasing earlier and earlier. So, American Cancer Society, I know, does a lot of studies on this. So it'd be interesting to be able to reach out to them at some point in time too, and have them share what they've found out. Because I think a couple of years ago, they said that it was not a drop for women, that if you've already had breast cancer, the study was not a drop. And prior to that, it was 4 ounces.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And again, it's like moderation, right? So, and also your relationship to alcohol, right? So there's a lot of different nuance to that. And some people alcohol is not a big deal. It's not, it's like a no factor, in their life, right? And other people, they're like, wait, what? You don't, I have to have my alcohol, my glass of wine with food. I have to it's part of their, habit or routine, right? And some people are like, yeah, take it or leave it. I don't care, right? Or they drink once a year, one champagne glass a year.
Yeah.
something, like something's like ridiculous, and other people are like, "Nah, no big deal."
Well, that's really cool too. Is there are so many companies that are out there now that have NA stuff, from champagne to beer to even liquors. And I know when we have our special guest on, we'll be able to talk more about that and the mocktails and the cocktails that they have. I mean, it's, there's so much to also having like maybe a placebo effect of, oh, I'm drinking a little bit of champagne. In fact, that happened one time, like over the holidays. My girlfriends came over, and I had a bottle of non-alcoholic champagne out for myself because I was the host, and I don't like to drink and host and all that stuff. And they opened it thinking that it was alcohol, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good!" And da da da. What kind is this? They didn't even realize that it was non-alcoholic.
That's funny.
Probably know now, considering they're watching the show, but it was good. I mean, it was really good, and so yeah, it just alcohol reduces the body's ability to absorb certain cancer protective nutrients and vitamins and all of that, and that the combination of drinking and smoking, it just increases indirectly the risk of cancer, which is coming directly from what you had written on your post today, Sonja. So yeah, I think that's really interesting facts for January. Jason, you have anything else to contribute to that?
Well, I mean, just alcohol overall. I mean, living in a cold weather climate this time of year, alcohol typically is dehydrant and it's a depressant, and the days are long here and it's cold, so the cold dries out your skin. So the alcohol consumption in this climate is generally, the cold is usually a high alcohol consumption time of year because it's indoors and cold and dark, but it just has the opposite effect that it should, like given the time of year, right? It's dehydrating your body. It's making you, depressed, and it's dark out and it's cold out, and all the natural things that you're fighting against already. So I think it's just something you see more prevalent in the colder climates in the winter months, and probably just the opposite. If you are going to drink, probably the opposite time to do it in this environment. So,
yeah,
definitely.
And there's so many other options now, as you were saying.
Yeah,
I think
it's a change too in like people's behaviors too. I think that it's changed a lot. Like 20 years ago, I think the attitudes towards consumption of alcohol just socially has changed. From people staying out to like bar times to now people, not out as late, not partying as much, more home based kind of thing. So I just think that the overall, you're seeing the prevalence of non-alcoholic options are just reflecting what's out there in our society right now. It's just, that's what you seem to, from what I gather.
Yeah. And I think there is a increase in health consciousness overall, that also contributes to that, as well. And so, like, some people are like, "Oh, well, I don't necessarily have to fall back on these things, fall back on, drinks or whatever. I could do something different, and it still tastes good, and I can still have a good time."
Yep. I think it's right.
One thing that I always have red wine in the house, because when I was little, my dad would always let us have like a little bit of red wine during holiday or something. But he also cooked with red wine, especially with his pasta sauces and whatnot. And so I usually will place a lot of wine within my pasta sauce, and I cook with it, marinating things or just sauteing things. But again, that is even processed differently than when it is going into the system. So yeah, I think everything is in moderation, like you said, and there's nothing wrong with drinking at all. But just to build awareness around alcohol and breast cancer, based on the statistics and the facts that just came out that you actually talked about, Sonja, are important for us to know. That's what Talk, Listen, and Share is about, is just educating, because I would have never have known that. And those are high statistics. And I don't know if that's worth the risk of me taking a sip, or 2 or 3 or 5, and increasing my risk of reoccurrence.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that this is not necessarily recurrent risk. This is actual diagnosis, right? So these are new diagnoses in like cases in 2020. So I think breast cancer recurrence, the statistics are a little bit more, a little different, but still fairly high and like fairly significant for recurrence.
Right.
Yeah. I don't remember the actual like percentages right now, but I can look it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So and again, we're not here to be a downer, but
Yeah.
just like here's some data, do with it as you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do what's right for you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Well, cool. Dry January goes on to the end of the month. So good luck to everyone who's doing dry January, and just, taking part of that resolution, just to be a little bit more conscious and mindful of what we're putting in our body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's the point.
So let's talk about Shae's. We have some really cool stuff coming up. And, I just was reflecting this month. January, I always feel like, is a reflection month, because it's like, okay, I have a whole new year to do many things. Like, you have 12 months until the next year, right? And there's all these extra things you can do and fun stuff and so many plans. And I try to like check the box. Hi, Bobby. Yay. Welcome. We love it. And I'm just curious, like, what are some things that stand out over the past 3 years with Shae's, and what's standing out going forward? And when we started Shae's, of course, the thing is to build education, information, and empower people to share their stories of hope and share their stories of struggle, so that we are a community that's safe for everyone to be around, and to be able to lift them up when they're down. And I think we've done a really good job on that. We really try to answer every email. We try to answer every phone call, every text. But we're really trying to make some, smiles happen, right? Even in the midst of the most strugglest of times, like when that storm is really storming, we're trying to show people that there is still a rainbow that's going to come out the next day. And what are some things that stand out for you guys over the last 3 years? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I mean, like, having a nonprofit, is really like having a business. It's the motives behind it are different. Businesses are for profit, and Shae's Warriors is to serve and to have a charitable focus. But the process of building, it is a process, and it's a lot of work, and it's so to see that the concept that was created with you, Shae, and Eileen, and then everyone that's supported it and contributed to it, like Sonja and everyone. It's remarkable, because it takes a lot to get a successful business, to last for 2 years. And for now, you're in what, year 5, and it's just moving towards the goal. So that's what's impressive. And having been a business owner, an entrepreneur, I know what it takes, and it's not easy. And so that is commendable, and that's what I think is the most exciting part about it. Besides obviously the good that's been done to the people that you've you've impacted. That's the most obviously the best. But yeah.
I think for me, it was like a combination of things, because it is involving our community here and creating a space for our survivorship community, to really to celebrate, right? To celebrate what they've come through, to continue their continue support for what they're like for everything that's they might still be going through, or when I love when you post up about a particular warrior and you're like, here, everyone love on this person, and they get it's just like so much like huge response in giving them encouragement and prayer and positive words and healing, and it's just like you're like highlighting this and allowing this like flood of support and love and good energy towards this person. And it was remarkable to see that growth in that community that you've created. So I that is the big thing for me that I've seen.
What about you?
I would say the same too. I mean, it's pretty inspiring and powerful when you see someone that is so going through such a hardship at the time, but they're overcoming that. They're being vulnerable enough to share, because I think one of the things that's the hardest part about going through cancer is letting people in your world. None of us like to be vulnerable. None of us like to really share the intimate details of having such a hard time asking for help, because we're all independent. We don't want to say like we can't do it. But the cool thing about Shae's is, in every single person, every single volunteer, every single board member, every person that's a part of what we do has never said, I can't help. They I want to help, because they already know that person's struggles. And it's like that ripple effect. It might have started with me, and then Eileen, and then Sonja, and then Jason, and then it just goes on and on and on. And then here we are. Today, we had 3 people brainstorming on stuff with Shae's in New York, Florida, and here in California. I mean, that's widespread. And it's really cool when people do share their stories, because that's the part of healing. When we share, we are able to heal, because you have your doctors, your nurses, you have your support team when you're going through cancer and the active treatment. And then when you're kind of hit that year and you're done, you kind of are like, now I go see my doctor every 3 months or every 6 months or maybe every year. But those anxieties, those fears, those things that you think about, they don't go away automatically. You don't get to go back to normal. And I think one of the things that I've learned over the years too is the fact that I had to learn to mourn the loss of who I was prior to cancer, because I'm not going to ever be that girl again. I'm this different person, right? I understand a little bit more deeper. I have a little more grace, and it is an ongoing journey on that roller coaster that you just never get off of. And I love the fact that we have so many of our team and our tribe that is willing to just take those virtual arms and wrap them around others. I mean, it's really cool. And we want to hear people's stories. We want to be able to give you a platform to share, even if you want to share it anonymously. We want you to feel the love and the support that maybe you don't have. And then maybe you do, but maybe you need a little bit more from people that really have walked the same path as you have. So if you're out there and you do want to share, send us an email, DM us, and we want to help you. We want to be there for you too. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's and we want to celebrate with you too, like your wins, right? So with our love bombs, like that's celebrating wins right there. And I don't know. I did. You can actually nominate a warrior, and I nominated one of my patients, and she's gone through so much, and just to see her, doing so well and thriving and living her best life. It's amazing to see. It's very inspirational, and to celebrate that and be able to like and to be able to do that in such a I don't know. It was like it's very public, but it's also very intimate, right? I don't know. It's like, and I don't know, like that really inspired me as well. And I know that like having a lot of women also who were recipients of those love bombs, like just touch them in a very deep way too.
Well, it's one thing too, because I think, they go through, anyone who goes through cancer, you're going through like a tunnel, and your main thing is to survive. Just survive every day. Get to the next day, get to the next day, get to the next day, right? And then it stops. Eventually, you're done with your treatment, or you're kind of winding down treatment, or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, it's just like everyone goes back to their normal lives. And so do you, in a way. Right? And we have to continue to move forward. But sometimes it's hard because now you've been accustomed to a whole year. It's kind of like being in what we are right now. The last 3 years, we've been kind of just in the standstill, right? So now do we move forward, or do we stay in a standstill? Only you can decide on that. Only anyone who's individually can decide on what's best for you. And it's a tough process. Nobody really talks about the life after cancer process. And that's really what we're trying to do, is create more conversation, be real about it, and acknowledge it, because it's there.
So I know one of the things we also wanted to talk about tonight were some of our upcoming special events.
Yes. So we have 2 events coming up with Shae's. If you are local to the Coachella Valley, February 12th, we have, ironically, both events. You only have to remember Valentine's Day weekend, guys and gals. But in the morning, we're going to be at the Tour de Palm Springs. Our Move to Heal Fit Warriors is going to be out there doing a walk, a run, or a bike ride. You can sign up at tourdepalmsprings.org. You can go to shayswarriors.org and sign up on our website. Our special code, I will put it in the chat here, is Shae's Warriors Cancer 22. Whoops. There we go. That's the code. And that is for Tour de Palm Springs. So if you want to join our team, 100% of our proceeds that we raise goes to our organization. and helps with our mission in life after cancer. Our mission, we have workshops, we have programs coming up this year. And we also, in June, we have the survivorship, the I Am Hope Survivor Reset Retreat, where 25 women are going to be nominated to be able to go to that retreat and kind of take a pause and be able to kind of take a check and just be able to collaborate and laugh and sing and dance and let loose a little bit after the cancer's over. You can do any distance on the walk, yes. I believe I'll actually look it up right now. Sonja, you want to talk about our other event as well?
Let's see. And after the Tour de Palm Springs, which is the morning event, we have a afternoon evening event, which is going to be at the Gardens of El Paseo, our Gardens on El Paseo. There we go. And it is a musical event that each year the Gardens of El Paseo puts on, and we are the recipients, I believe, of that night of music, and we will be hosting that, and you can get tickets to listen to Eddie.
It's Evan Traub, local Coachella artist from Coachella, is going to be singing top 40 hits, Justin Timberlake, a little bit of oldies, cover band. Can't wait. Yes, it's going to be at the Gardens of El Paseo. Agua Caliente is our major sponsor there. And then JSP Toolbox has sponsored us as the organization to receive those benefits that night. Tickets are on sale right now. I think a VIP ticket is like $35, and just a general admission ticket is $15. So it's very affordable, fun for the weekend. It's outdoors. I was there last weekend for Guide Dogs of the Desert, and it was just beautiful. Like the setup, everything that the Gardens of El Paseo does is just beautiful. There, and then of course there's restaurants down there. So if you're hungry, you can go before or after and just eat or shop. Or you can take a picture by our mural, which is that we live in Hope and Color, the mural down there. We live Hope and Color. Let me answer this for you, Bobby. I'm looking here on their website, and yeah, you can do a mile, you can do 5 miles, you can do 10 miles. So it's all here. It's really up to you what you want to go. There's rest stops, there's music, there's food trucks. It looks like it's going to be really cool. And that's actually sponsored by Renova Energy, who our very first year was one of our awesome partners and sponsors. You're welcome. They helped sponsor us just meeting places. So we were able to meet at their location. We're just so grateful that they were able to give us that start in our organization. But yeah, the registration for the vendor expo is actually on Friday night from 12 to 8. And then on Saturday, they open up at 6 a.m. And you can still register the day of. And it just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's the 24th year that SR Air Conditioning has done this. And it's world renowned known. I've known Tim Esser for a really, really long time. And he knew our family. And it's just, always in awe of how many organizations the Tour de Palm Springs has sponsored and partnered with and gifted to the Valley. They've done so much over the years. So, and this year, I believe they're recognizing Bianca Ray of the Bianca Ray Foundation. Mm-hmm. So Ray of Hope. So that's super awesome as well. But yeah, so that is that morning. And I believe the walk starts at 8 a.m. But the Gardens music series starts that night. Doors open at 5:15. You can buy tickets that night still. And the music starts at 6:00. And I want to say it's not super long, so you can still be in bed by like 9. That's my new nighttime bedtime. But yeah, so the Gardens music series starts then. And again, you can just make a night of it and have fun that weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you have any questions, go to shayswarriors.org and our events page. It's right on the beginning of the events. You can buy the tickets there. And there's a ton of seats still available. So we hope that we get to see you there. Our entire team is going to be there. Jason, I think you'll be flying in from
I will.
Minneapolis, St. Paul. So we're super excited to see you in person.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be great. And we've got, I think we have some pictures that we can either donate or give away for this or another event from Dean Mayo as well.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So,
Yeah, there'll be some surprises, I think, down there during that time. So that's awesome. Yay. And we love Dean. He's been such a huge supporter of us since day one. He did a lot of, for our love bombs, he did all of our yoga mats that we had. So with our logo and everything. And Dean is just such an awesome friend and supporter of Shae's Warriors. Yeah. Yeah, we love him. So who is Shae's Warriors? What do we do? You come here, you listen to Talk, Listen, Share. This is our educational series. But we have other things too. So when you go to shayswarriors.org and you go to the community page, couple things that we have. One, we have a Spotify channel. For those of you that don't know, we teamed up with Spotify and you can get free music. It's not unlimited commercials. But this year, we're going to be gifting a few warriors a full year of Spotify. And so go to our Spotify channel. You're able to collaborate with us on music. There is a ton of awesome stuff. So if you're looking for just to de-stress, if you're looking for meditation, if you're looking to kind of have like a power woman, like run or something outside, we have all that. There are all of these beautiful lists that are built in there, and they're all a part of Shae's Warriors. We also have our podcast, which is on Apple iTunes and on Spotify. It's on a couple other channels as well. But our podcast is really talking a little bit with Eisenhower's Lucy Curti Cancer Center, ourselves, and Ellie Torget, a local realtor in town, who really, she's been in the music and radio industry for over 40 years. And it's really cool because she has interviewed so many warriors and so much questions and facts specifically about breast cancer that's been out there. And then going forward this year, we want to interview more inspiring stories and warriors on that podcast to be able to share. So we do have that coming up this year. And Move to Heal, our Fit Warriors. So we have a private group page that is just an accountability page. It helps people stay accountable with food, nutrition, and exercise. So mind-body connection type stuff. All accountability. There are daily posts. There is a once a month meetup where we do a coffee and connection, whether it's a hike, a run, a walk, or even a gentle yoga class. So something for everybody you can join, which is absolutely complimentary to any of our warriors, thrivers, and their families. What else? Our retreat. Let's talk about the retreat. The big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our retreat is a one-of-a-kind retreat that has not been done here in the Coachella Valley, but it will be. We're going to announce in the next 2 weeks. We're actually going to announce it on Valentine's Day, where the retreat is going to be held in the Valley. And it's going to be for 25 amazing women who have gone through life after cancer. During the retreat, there will be things like meditation. There will be things like yoga. There will be hiking. There will be games. There will be relaxation, massage. Like, you name it, it will be there. But it's all about kind of resetting goals, getting through things, and also connecting with other people who have walked that same journey. So we are super excited. You can nominate a warrior. And Sonja, if you wouldn't mind, would you put that in the comments?
Absolutely.
Anyone can be nominated. And we will be announcing in March and April the recipients of the nominations. So for the last 2 years, considering we weren't able to host anything in person, now people will be able to find out who nominated them, and hopefully they'll want to come to the retreat as well. So super, super excited about that. And again, anyone can be nominated as long as they're 6 months out past their last surgery. So there are some stipulations just for safety reasons on it. We are super, super excited to have even our awesome facilitator come down and do that. There are going to be some surprise guests, some guest speakers, some inspirational speakers. A great weekend,
and maybe some some extra special guests and pop-ups and a lot of things that that will be part of that will be a surprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not going to unveil everything, but little bits and pieces along the way, right?
That's right. No, it'll be awesome.
Way for people to stay in touch with us right now is through our Instagram and Facebook, which is Shae's Warriors Life After Cancer. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, please sign up for the newsletter. Sometimes we put extra special deals on merchandise, on pop-ups, and we'd like to also talk about some of our partners and sponsors that we have and kind of what they're doing too this year. So it's really important that you get a chance to sign up for the newsletter, and we're not going to bombard your box with a ton of emails, but it's really cool with what we do send. Some of the Talk, Listen, and Share series that's coming up. Sonja, maybe you want to tell everyone about that, because that is the program that you're watching right now.
Yep. So for our next, so the two coming up in February, so we have Talk, Listen, Share every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. In February, the next one is going to be the 9th of February. We are going to have a special sound bath event. And for the 23rd, we're going to have a panel about balancing your immunity. So those are, and I think that is a very important piece of health right now, especially when we're trying to survive through through this current flu season, and everyone is literally getting sick and having to reschedule things. But your immune system and making sure that it is healthy and balanced and working properly. We will be talking all about those things on the 23rd.
Awesome.
So, okay. And I know, let's see, we wanted to talk a little bit about our sponsorships and how that's been going.
Yeah, so we love our partners and sponsors. First of all, I just want to thank Jen over at Grounded, Stella at Rancho Relaxo, Kimmy over at Bodyworks and Aesthetics and La Quinta. Obviously, Sonia, you guys over at Live Well Clinic. There is just, we have so many supporters and sponsors that are out there. The newest thing that's coming up is Eisenhower's Lucy Curti Cancer Center, and Shae's Warriors is going to be hosting the Yoga for Cancer starting again virtually in February. It's on every Tuesday and Thursday from 10:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. And then the third Thursday of the month, we're going to be doing specific workshops, speaking around breath and just different aspects of yoga and how yoga and breathing can help heal the body after cancer. I'm going to be leading those, so I'm super excited about that. And as long as you are currently in treatment or you are a cancer survivor or a spouse, or not a spouse, but a caretaker, just call the Eisenhower's Lucy Curti Cancer Center for more details, or go to our website, click on Get Help, and you'll see a link that goes directly for that page. So you will sign up with them and be able to sign in virtually every week. So we're super excited about that as well.
Pretty cool.
The Gardens of El Paseo, of course, we want to make sure we thank them for collaborating with us with the musical series and the mural. The We Hope in Color mural, which is located right over by Anthropology. And it is this huge, beautiful mural that Lindsay made this, who also is one of our board members, did I guess it's been not a year, but it's probably been about 9 months ago. We did that mural. And so when people go and take the picture there and then they send it to us, we love to share it because it just makes you happy. When you see it, it's big, giant colors, and it makes you happy, right?
Absolutely. And of course, we can't forget Skin Lab.
Exactly. Yes. Marissa, love her and them. They would have been on tonight too, but go ahead, Sonia. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, they're right across the street from the mural. And yeah, Skin Lab, great place. They also have some specials along supporting Shae's Warriors, of course, and Perky, our friends in San Antonio. Didn't you just have like a coffee and connection with them?
A what?
Did you have like a coffee and connection with them?
Yeah. So on Saturday morning, we teamed up with the Perky girls from San Antonio, and we did it was a sunrise yoga class, and it was a donation-based class for nipple restoration, nipple tattooing. And we raised enough money, or they raised enough money to be able to gift one woman a nipple tattoo.
Oh, that's awesome.
On both breasts, of course. That's a really, really big deal, because what we found out during this process was nipple tattooing isn't necessarily covered everywhere within insurances. And so we just decided, like, let's do this. So I donated the yoga, and they got all of the advertising out there and let people know. And it was a really cool event. So they had a lot of donations, and we had a lot of people that practiced with us. And the cool thing about everyone that practiced with us is the fact that we knew exactly what they were practicing for, right? We knew exactly, everyone contributed to that practice, and the person that is going to get that gift, everyone got to be a part of that.
It's cool.
So, yeah, love them. And I hope that they're able to come out here at some point in time. Yeah. Cool. Well, that was a ton of information, right? We don't get a chance just to kind of like sit down and chat casually and be able to tell you, like, hey, this is what's going on and why we do it and all that good stuff. So we hope that the pivot tonight was a benefit and everyone understands.
Very good.
Awesome.
Great. Well, I see that Jason is like the business person he is. He's just like, I know, laser focused there.
I don't know.
And I know it's late in the Twin Cities. So thank you so much for being on tonight.
It's great. Thank you for having me.
Glad to see you. And Dr. Fung, always a pleasure to see you, not only in person, but virtually.
Thank you.
And you guys don't know this, but Max is like, my dog Max is also kind of looking up and groaning. And so he's also very excited to be here with everybody tonight.
Poor guy. He's probably like, I'm tired, Mom.
Maybe. I don't know. So,
Right.
but we'll see you. We'll see you on February 9th.
We'll see you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.